You are tuned to the Witching Hours, and I'm your host, Kanaska Carter. On this episode, we're going to be getting into the story of Tenome, which translates to eyes on hands. Now, what does this mean exactly? Well, Tenome is a creature that was reborn or returned after he was just a blind man, and he was walking through this area and was attacked by robbers, and they ended up stealing his money or robbing him, and then they brutally murdered him. They beat him to the point where he died of he succumbed to his wounds. So he was cursing them, and he ended up being left for dead in a field. So what happened was he called out, saying that only if he could have seen their faces, and if he were to have eyes that worked, or on the palms of his hands. So he shortly after that returned, and he returned as this elderly spirit, an old spirit, looks like an old man, but has no eyes on the face and has eyes on the palms of the hands. So the folklore or the legend has it that a man was walking in the same area and happened upon a spirit, an old man walking around, and he had eyes on the palms of his hands, and he was chasing him, trying to kill him. The man happened to escape by some stroke of luck and ran away to an inn nearby. Once he reached safety, he told the innkeeper what he had saw. The innkeeper said that yes, there was a blind man who was murdered in this area and robbed a few days ago, just days ago. And it is said that he was calling out to have, if only he had eyes on the palms of his hands when he died. So there is another story about a priest. A man comes to him asking for him to protect or save him from this creature, the Tenome. So the priest ends up hiding the man inside of a chest. So then the priest goes to hide, and the Tenome shows up and actually sniffs around the temple until it locates the chest that the man is hiding in. The priest in the story recalls hearing slurping of bones, like slurping of dog bones almost. And then the Tenome leaves the temple, and the priest goes over to where the chest was closed, opens it up, and there's just skin, the remains of the man, but there's no bones in his body. So somehow the creature was able to slurp the bones out of the body without even opening up the chest. Very peculiar, to say the least. So why am I speaking about this? Well, if anybody has been following anything with Astroworld and how many people believe it was a ritualistic sacrifice, this is what got me into looking further into the symbolism surrounding that festival. The main flyer is the two hands with the eyeballs on the palms that wanders around at night and eats your bones and leaves the skin. I actually saw a creature like this when I was 15 years old, and I was reading a book about haunted houses, sitting in my brother's room. I felt something was watching me, so I went and looked out of the window down one floor, and there was an old man with a gray shirt and red shorts staring at me, but he had no eyes, There wasn't even like a slit where the eyes would be. There was no nose, and the most evil smile you could think of, just staring. So I ducked down for a minute and looked back up and peeked out over the windowsill. And it was closer, and the smile was bigger. And it was the most terrifying smile. So I ducked down for 10 seconds, peeked back up, and it was gone. Searched all around the building after, told my mom what I had seen. There was nothing. No trace of any man. And why wouldn't he have a face? So I thought it was a faceless demon for a very long time. And it just hit me now researching this that I think if I was to have seen the hands, perhaps there would have been eyeballs there. So this is commonly depicted in Pan's Labyrinth, the Tenome, or pale skin man is another name for them. So it literally translates to hands, eyes on hands is what it translates to. So getting back to Astroworld, I just posted a bunch of videos going into the symbolism behind the festival. Now, not every single artist that does dark art wants to harvest your energy and steal your soul. But after seeing how many people died and were injured, and after watching Travis Scott's apology video, which does not seem sincere at all, it got me to researching it more. The more videos came across my news feed on TikTok of people who were at the festival claiming it felt like they were actually in hell. They said that it felt like it was very demonic. They were playing this frequency for hours before the show began that made them feel really off. So many people had a bad vibe about the festival. So there's even points where people are being pulled away on a stretcher. Travis is looking at them going, yeah. So dark. You can see there's clips of videos where he's smiling like an evil smile, and people are literally yelling out, "Help me! Help us!" Like you can hear it clearly. And there's been hundreds of injuries and deaths. I've heard up to 13 deaths now that have been reported, but from people that were there, they say that there was even one guy out of a crowd of probably over 50,000 people. He said there was at least 10 people dead around him. And that's just one area. So at first they said it was 8 deaths. Then it went to 11 deaths. And now I've heard even up to 13 deaths. I get a feeling it might even end up surpassing that as people succumb to their wounds and their injuries. Many people had cardiac arrest, and there was also somebody going around injecting people with some sort of a needle. I believe a cop got injected with a needle as well, and that was in a press conference for the Houston police. They were speaking about that in a press conference on TV. Now, it seems weird just as soon as the world opens up again. 2 concerts, after being in lockdown for so long, we have this tragedy surrounding this massive concert. It just makes me feel like they're going to potentially use it to make the crowds smaller or to do some sort of more restrictions on concerts, I feel. But it also felt like a ritualistic sacrifice to me. The more I looked into the symbolism, all the way from the entrances of the festival, they have the huge gold heads with the gaping mouths, and the people walk through the mouth, literally walking into the mouth of Travis, okay? This is what hell is depicted as from hundreds of years ago in all of this art. More than one artist actually painted this. where hell is supposed to, you see all these bodies piling on top of each other and struggling, and they're walking into these huge heads that have gaping mouths, like swallowing their souls. His shirt that he wore at the festival was blue men walking through a portal or a door, and then when they would go through the portal, they would come through the other side as these red-horned demons. So it was like these good souls transferring and going to hell, or stealing the souls. And as the person was being pulled away on the stretcher, in the video, you see on top of the stage on the screens, they have those blue souls walking on top of the stage on the screens. It felt like they were trying to recreate hell on earth and open up a portal to hell. On the stage, literally, it looked like a portal to hell, like what the portal to hell looks like in Turkmenistan. And artistic depictions of what a portal to hell would look like. It looks identical to that, the ring of fire. At the beginning, there's this huge phoenix, or this bird on fire. And I get that so many people will use demonic or dark imagery to portray their art, but something just feels off about this entire thing.
That's a scary thought. It's a very scary thought. MUSTAINE is currently on tour in Europe with what's called the Big Four, his current and former bands, plus Anthrax and Slayer. Are people right when they say that heavy metal music is infused with the power of the devil? In some cases, yes, but not in all cases, because you've got great heavy metal bands that believe in God and glorify Him. We pray every night before we go on stage.
It does not make sense. So on the flyer, you see the hands, the Tenome hands, where it steals your bones, you know, and it feels like this was some sort of a ritualistic sacrifice. And when you watch the apology video, he does not look sorry at all. And it reminds me of how my ex-boyfriend would lie. The same thing, constantly rubbing the face, no eye contact, insincere voice. It reminds me of that. Or how somebody, when they're younger, they'll try to get out of going to school and pretend to be sick. That's the type of vibes his apology video is giving me. So who knows? It's the weirdest thing, and it's been on my For You page the entire week on TikTok. I did post a video. It's got over 30,000 views so far, just in a couple days, talking about the demonic symbolism. If you want to go check that out. But yeah, to think that we cannot control things with spells, magic, music, poetry combined, words in general, it's called spelling for a reason. You can manifest things with your words, with your music, with poetry, with rhyming. This is how spells are created. That's how I do them quite often. I will turn it into a song, and I've manifested things with songs, paintings. I've manifested things in my life with poetry. So spells quite often are done in rhymes. So to think that every single band out there that talks about the devil is out to get you, I don't believe that. But there are some people that use entertainment as a way to control our psyche through vibrations, sounds, and rhyming, combining it with music and lyrics and low vibrations. I believe that we're able to control people and influence.
Horror. Now, did the devil make you do it? Can an obsession with Satan wreck lives and drive people to kill? It was a gruesome crime. 15-year-old Elise Paler was lured into a grove of eucalyptus trees by 3 teenage boys in 1995. They bound her neck with a belt, stabbed her repeatedly, and then raped her. Her body might never have been found if one of them, Royce Casey, hadn't come forward. He said she was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed virgin, and they were offering her as a sacrifice to the devil. The boys were part of a death metal band and thought that Satan could make their music better. Casey said it was an idea they'd gotten from Altar of Sacrifice, a song by the heavy metal band Slayer.
Another strange thing was some people believe that the Masonic Temple or the Freemasons control certain aspects of our planet. To think that there aren't rituals is actually quite foolish, because I was in a band at the age of 16 and my drummer worked for the Masonic Temple. He was a cleaner there, and while we were recording our first album, he brought us into the main room, lifted up a hatch on the floor, and underneath the floor there was a skeleton. So why is there a skeleton underneath the floor in the Masonic Temple if there aren't rituals that happen? It's like they don't want people to know about these things. So, anyways, guys, that's it for this episode. We'll be going further into this on another episode. But keep your eyes peeled, because the devil's not hiding anymore. I don't think he ever has, but now it's just becoming more and more in our face. It's almost like we went into another dimension or another frequency, and things feel weird the past couple of years. There's like so many changes happening, and it just feels like we're not in the same reality that we were a couple of years ago. I'll see you guys next Wednesday. I love you very much.